Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Would you say there is a legal standing to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan?
Well, the Constitution has made provision for recall of a legislator for National Assembly, Senator, House of Reps. The provision is as embedded in Section 69 of our Constitution, subsection A and B, which require, like you earlier mentioned, that at least 50%, of it has to be over 50%. So let's look at, say, 50 point something percent of which 1% of the registered voters of the senatorial zone must sign such petition. I understand that about 480,000 registered voters in Kogi Central. So that means that half of that will give you about 240,000. That means more than 240,000 registered voter signatures are needed for that. And then after, INEC will have a responsibility to verify the signatures to ensure that they are not forged and fake signatures of the registered voters. That means it has to be matched against the database of INEC, because in inputting the registered voter details, they have to indicate their VIN numbers, that is voter identification numbers, their wards, and everything will be arranged in that order. The ward, the local government, and the senatorial level, the social zone, so that it becomes easy for INEC to verify those signatures. And if they are satisfied with the verification, then INEC will conduct a referendum. And in the referendum, the Constitution says in Section 69, subsection B, that simple majority of the voters, this time around, we are not talking about all the registered voters. The simple majority of the voters of that referendum will suffice to determine whether the recall will be successful or not. And what we mean by referendum is that some will be saying yes and some will be saying no. If the yes is more than the no, then the recall is successful. If the no is more than the yes, then the recall has failed. And I think why this has never been successful in Nigerian political history is the huge challenge and the problem of verification of the signatures. The social media was agog yesterday. It is still reverberating today that some people were seen in a particular room gathering and collecting signatures. And some of the signatories were induced to come and sign. They were asked to come with their voters card for them to come and sign. And many of them did not even understand what they were asked to sign. Some of them who knew what they were asked to sign voted out and said they were not interested. So it simply means that that provision of verification of signature is a very important one, because fake people could fill out that signature and then the wrong thing may be done by INEC if there is no such verification. Does
this look fishy to you, given the timing?
We often say that the fish, the witch cried in the night and the baby died in the morning, that there's a nexus. Obviously, the recall of Senator, the attempt to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is not unconnected with the brouhaha he had with the Senate President and by extension, the majority of members of the Senate, which obviously led to her suspension, which is being challenged in court. Now it is also being challenged at International Parliamentary Union of United Nations. She has gone there to tell the whole world that she was being manhandled by malevolent acts of most members of the Senate, and that she needed justice for her and justice for her constituency. And of course, why it further looks fishy is because not long ago, Senator Natasha Akpoti was celebrated when she rolled out a lot of goodies for members of her constituency in terms of empowerment, in terms of gifts, so much that some people of other senatorial zones became jealous of the people of her own constituency, because she had so much to give that people were wondering whether she had to even attract some international aid and charity for her people. So people are now beginning to say, is it the same people that benefited massively from the philanthropic acts of Senator Akpoti and from her efforts to touch lives of members of our constituency? Is it the same people of our constituency that are lining up to recall her from the Senate and that it didn't add on? That means that it's still fishy and there's a lot of politics surrounding it. It looks as if somebody or some people or some group of people are anchoring this effort for her recall. She has said in very strong terms, as echoed by her spokespersons, that such a recall will fail. But whether such a recall will succeed or not, only time shall tell. But it is very curious that the people that she has massively touched their lives and is still touching their lives as a senator are the ones lining up to recall her from the Senate. It is really very preposterous and very fishy.
Should there be some kind of procedure that has legal backing to verify the so-called signatories that were collected for this petition? And should there be some kind of, if those people were found to have been coerced or misled or paid allegedly into signing those petitions, should they be taken to court? Because this is influencing the decision of the people in order to make them decide in a way that is, for some people, unjust, would you say?
While this process is ongoing, while the people, the political enemies of Senator Natasha are accused of pulling people around to sign the signatures for her recall, her own political supporters and her own legal team will be taking notes so that they will be taking pieces and bits of information that they will use to quash whatever effort the people on the other side are making. And one of such efforts will be to ensure that the signature verification is watertight. And I can tell you that it is obviously very difficult for such signature verification to be completely genuinely done. And if there are undoings in the process of gathering those signatures and the wrong people are signed or wrong signatures are appended, there are grounds for litigation. There are grounds for the court to quash the efforts of those who seek to recall Senator Natasha. Because it does not end with INEC activities. The court may be activated to also look into the matter, because if there are inconsistencies and if there are breaches of the provisions of the law and the procedures, then the court will be obviously be called to come and make a definite pronouncement one way or the other in that regard. So it does not end with the referendum. There are so many bottlenecks along the line. There are so many hurdles that they will have to pass. Apart from gathering the signatures will have to be authentic, and the authentication will have to be confirmed by INEC. And if INEC does a shoddy job in such a confirmation, then they have presented the ground for the court to quash what effort they are making. And of course, it is expensive for INEC because they have to bear the cost of getting all these things done, including the cost of running the referendum, which is like an election of yes or no. So INEC will have to be very careful on their own side so that they will not be seen to be willing to in the hand of political traducers of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan.
Before I let you go, how important is it for INEC to ensure that the verification process is free, fair, and transparent? Quickly.
It is very important because it will go to the credibility of whatever INEC has done, one way or the other, because at the end of the day, don't forget that after the verification process, they have to also conduct a referendum. And if they do any of those things in a shoddy manner, INEC will be called out once again by the people who will not take it lightly with INEC. So it's not just a burden that these politicians are heaping once again on INEC. And by extension, after INEC issues, the court will be activated to also look into what INEC has done in the whole recall process, beginning from the collation of the signatures and the letter of recall. So INEC is again put on the spot. So if they fail to do what is right, then their name will now be ringing bell again on the side of infamy and on the side of inglorious conduct of the recall process. And I say it again that is because of these Herculean hurdles being presented in the process and by the Constitution that has not allowed this thing to succeed ever since 1999. Only one that succeeded in Benue State was quashed by the court. One House of Assembly member that was recalled, and it was shoddily done, and then the court said that it was wrong, and she was returned back to the House. Apart from that, no other recall process or effort has succeeded. And if I will look through a crystal ball, I dare say from hindsight and from the study of Nigerian electoral system, that this particular one will most likely fail. Not because I do not wish the Senate well, or because I am a supporter of Natasha, but I can tell you that none has ever succeeded, and I doubt if this one will succeed.
We're going to have to leave it there tonight. I guess we all have to wait and see. Wait for the INEC to do their job, and if it falls through, then we'll have to wait for the courts to do their job. Either way, it's a wait-and-see game. Thank you so much, Barrister Fred Nzeakoa, a constitutional lawyer, for joining me tonight.